There are roads in America that locals avoid after sunset. Blackridge Hollow Road was one of them. It ran through 40 miles of untouched forest where cell signals disappeared and maps often failed. The asphalt was cracked and broken, swallowed slowly by moss and roots that pushed upward from beneath the earth. Drivers who took the road at night often reported the same strange feeling: the silence. No animals, no insects, just the sound of tires on old pavement and wind whispering through dead trees. For decades, people had disappeared there. Hikers, couples, hunters, truck drivers, even a small family once. 27 confirmed missing persons. But older locals claimed the number was much higher. They also shared a rumor that no police report ever mentioned. Sometimes, late at night, people saw a massive man standing near the road, watching, waiting, and smiling. Daniel Carter had built his career investigating things people preferred to ignore. He wasn't interested in celebrity scandals or political gossip. He chased forgotten crimes, unsolved mysteries, and stories that made other reporters uncomfortable. That's how he discovered Blackridge Hollow. He was digging through old archives in a small newspaper office in Pennsylvania when he noticed something odd: a pattern. Missing persons reports, all within a 2-mile radius of the same location. And every report mentioned a strange detail: a smell, rotting meat. Daniel spent weeks researching old police files, newspaper clippings, town records. What he discovered disturbed him. Disappearances had been happening near Blackridge Hollow since 1913. That meant whoever or whatever was responsible had been active for over 80 years, and no one had ever been caught. Before driving to the forest, Daniel stopped in a nearby town called Red Mill. The town looked frozen in time: a single gas station, a diner, a church, and an old man sitting outside the diner smoking a pipe. Daniel approached him. "Excuse me," he said, "do you know where Blackridge Hollow Road is?" The old man slowly removed the pipe from his mouth. His eyes narrowed. "You a hunter?" "No, reporter." The old man shook his head. "Then you shouldn't go there." Daniel smiled politely. "I'm just doing research." The old man leaned closer. "Son, people who go looking for answers in those woods don't usually come back." Daniel laughed nervously. "What's out there?" The old man stared at the forest in the distance, then said quietly, "A man who eats people." Daniel assumed it was just local folklore, but as he drove away, he noticed something unsettling. The old man looked genuinely afraid. The forest swallowed the road quickly. Within minutes, the town was gone. Just trees, miles and miles of trees. Daniel drove slowly, checking the GPS coordinates he had written down from old police reports. Eventually, he saw it: the farmhouse. It stood alone in the middle of a dead field. The structure leaned dangerously to one side, as if it had been rotting for decades. Most of the roof had collapsed inward. The barn nearby had completely caved in. But something felt wrong. The dirt road leading to the house had fresh tire tracks. Someone lived here. Daniel grabbed his camera and walked toward the house. That's when he smelled it: rot, a thick, sickening odor that coated the air like fog. Daniel gagged, but he kept walking. The front door creaked open, with almost no resistance. Inside, the house was dark, but Daniel's camera flash revealed enough. The kitchen looked like something out of a nightmare. Huge butcher hooks hung from the ceiling. Chains dangled from wooden beams. The central table was carved with thousands of deep knife cuts, and the walls were covered with tools, cleavers, knives, meat saws, all rusted, all stained. Daniel slowly stepped forward. Then he saw something that made his stomach twist. A pile of shoes in the corner, at least 30 pairs. Some were children's shoes. The smell grew stronger near a small wooden door in the kitchen floor. Daniel lifted it. A staircase descended into darkness. The stench from below was unbearable. Rotting meat, old blood, death. He turned on his flashlight and went down. What he found there would haunt his final moments. Bones, hundreds of them, stacked along the walls like firewood. Skulls arranged in rows. Some were ancient, some looked disturbingly fresh. Then Daniel noticed something worse. A journal, old leather, resting on a wooden crate. He opened it. Inside were handwritten entries, dates going back decades. One page read, "Father says never waste meat." Another read, "Hunters came today, big ones, strong, good meat." Another entry, dated 1957, read, "Police searched the woods. I watched them from the trees." Daniel's hands trembled. This wasn't one killer. This was a family tradition. Then Daniel heard something above him. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. The floorboards creaked. Daniel turned off his flashlight instantly. Silence filled the cellar. Then a voice echoed through the floor. Deep. Calm. "You found my pantry." Daniel's blood froze. The footsteps moved toward the cellar door. "I wondered when someone new would arrive." The door slowly opened, and the largest man Daniel had ever seen stepped into the light. He was enormous, at least 7 feet tall. His arms were thick with muscle and covered in scars. Old bite marks covered his forearms. Human bite marks. He wore a butcher apron soaked with dark stains, and in his hand was a long cleaver. But his face was the worst part. He looked peaceful, like a farmer greeting a neighbor. "You shouldn't snoop where food is kept," the man said calmly. Daniel tried to speak. Nothing came out. The man stepped closer. "I haven't had fresh meat in weeks." Then he smiled. Daniel saw bits of human flesh between his teeth. Daniel ran. He bolted up the cellar stairs and through the front door. Behind him, the butcher laughed, a deep, rumbling sound. Daniel reached his car and started the engine. The tires screamed as he sped down the road. But when he looked in the rearview mirror, the man was chasing him, running faster than any human should, closing the distance, step by step. Daniel pushed the car to 90 miles per hour. The road twisted violently through the forest. Then, suddenly, a deer jumped onto the road. Daniel swerved. The car spun. Metal screamed. Glass exploded. Everything went black. Daniel woke to pain. His arms were stretched above him. Chains held his wrists. He hung from a hook. The butcher stood nearby, sharpening a blade. Scrape, scrape, scrape. "You journalists ask too many questions," the man said softly. Daniel struggled. "Please." The butcher chuckled. "You smell delicious." Then he leaned close. "Fear makes the meat tender." The blade rose slowly. 3 weeks later, search teams found Daniel Carter's car deep in the forest, but his body was gone. Authorities eventually discovered the farmhouse, burned to the ground. Inside the ashes they found bones, hundreds of them, some nearly a century old. But the killer was gone. No fingerprints, no identity, just one word carved repeatedly into a surviving cellar beam, over and over, hundreds of times. Hungry. And even today, truck drivers traveling through Blackridge Hollow sometimes report something strange. A giant man standing near the road, watching passing cars, waiting patiently, as if deciding who will stop and who will become dinner.